Bonneville. The name is synonymous with land speed racing, high-performance engines, and legendary personalities. Y-Block Ford. Most probably the most underappreciated engine series ever produced. Plagued by fables of starved oiling passages and a supposed inability to breathe, the history of Ford's Y-Block does not often intersect with the Salt Flats. However, the records of land speed racing in the 1950s prove otherwise. Texan Karol Miller in 1956 drove his Ford Victoria to Utah to compete, racing his 312 cubic inch Y-Block in a class that topped out at 488 cubic inches. The Southern California Timing Association clocked his Ford at 139 miles per hour. The class-winning Chrysler that year sported 400 cubic inches, but only went 141 miles per hour. Karol went on to race at Daytona's Flying Mile in an experimental class in 1957, setting the class record at 150 miles an hour with only a 292 Y-Block Ford 30 over. In 1958, Karol returned to Bonneville, winning his class and setting the new record at 152 miles an hour. Still in that 1956 Ford Victoria, and yes, you guessed it, still running a Y-Block Ford V8. In the modern era, another land speed racing legend has entered the history books. Enter Tim McMaster, also known as the Y-Block Guy. Tim holds a record worldwide for the fastest Y-Block Ford V8 powered vehicle ever. Recently, we had the opportunity to catch up with the Y-Block Guy and get the latest on his quest to reach 200 miles an hour on the Salt Flats.
Well, I guess since the last time you were here at the shop, I went to Bonneville, took the Roadster out. My goal until I get it has been 200 miles an hour. Up until now, we've gone 196.288. Last year, we went 195.126 backwards when I spun it. And this year, had a good effort. Well, this year we got 197.550, not quite 200. But, I joke when I say I'm kind of like, the Brooklyn Dodgers of land speed racing. Wait till next year.
All right, so Tim, talk to us a little bit about some of the things you tried to do to tweak a little bit more out of the engine this past trip to Bonneville, or what do you think it's going to take to put you over the top over 200?
Honestly, what it comes down to is timing, carburation, and just getting the right combination. We try little things. It goes up, it goes down. Traction is a big deal. The salt surface was really good this year, in my opinion. It's hard. It had pretty good traction. There were some soft spots out there, and I don't know how many of the people out there are into it, but we lost a guy out there this year. Chris, he was with ARP and the Speed Demon crew. There's videos of it out there, and there's no official ruling on what happened, but he might have hit a soft spot on the salt, dug in, the thing got airborne, flipped end over end, and I don't think it killed him outright, because they did bring in a helicopter but I think he died at the scene, and it's a tragedy. We all know there's risk involved.
Yep.
Hey, we were talking about the accident out at Bonneville. When the car came apart, we were in the pits and we saw pieces fly off, and there's a wheel came rushing across the salt, headed into the pits. It hit a guy's Corvette across from us, and it bounced off of that car and then came running right for us. Now, I saw it coming for my truck, and my first instinct was I was going to get in front of it and save my truck, but then I thought, no, that's stupid. So I stepped out of the way, and the front wheel of the Speed Demon put a nice big dent in my truck. the guys from the Speed Demon crew, they came over and wanted to know if they could compensate me for the damage on my truck, and I said, you know, they lost a human life.
Exactly.
They didn't owe me a thing, and the guy signed the door. I think I'm going to leave it there as a memorial for Chris.
Sure.
He was trying, you know, they're trying for 500 miles an hour in a reciprocating engine, wheel-driven car.
Wow.
The first time somebody went 400 was back in the late 50s, and they still haven't gone over 500. And like I say, with a reciprocating engine, wheel-driven car. The Turbinator, I think they broke 500 a couple years ago. That's a turbine engine, but it is wheel-driven car. Getting the traction is the hard part.
Yeah. Now, Tim, you obviously, you race this car. I know the guys that watch the channel, we've got great footage of the truck, the unibody.
Yeah, you need to come out to Bonneville and watch the roadster
I know.
sometime.
I need to come out there and, yeah. Now, Tim, obviously, we know there's a little bit of a risk involved. Everybody knows that when you do land speed racing, or most types of racing, but especially land speed racing.
Yeah.
What is it?
Anytime you leave your house, there's risk involved.
So Tim, talk to us. What gives you confidence that, hey, you're out there racing, if you should lose your life, what gives you confidence about the afterlife and what will happen to you should you, God forbid, die out on the Salt Flats?
Well, Daniel, it may come as a surprise to you, but guess what? We're all going to die. Whether it happens in land speed racing or in your bed when you're 110 years old. But I take great confidence, and I could go into a long story about how I found the Lord, but I know where I'm going. And the only way you get there is through the grace of Jesus Christ. And, you know, I mean, you're the Hot Rod Reverend. We know, I don't mind giving a plug to God and Jesus.
Amen.
I'm a lover of the Lord. I'm a sinner like everybody else, and the world is full of hypocrites. And I always love it when the secular world talks about churches being full of hypocrites. Well, the world's full of them. Church is the best place for them.
That's right. That's right.
And, you know, we live with our brothers, and, you know, we love everyone.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you, Tim. Very good. And I'll try to get out to Bonneville next year, if at the very least, to pray with you before you race out there, okay?
We do pray before every pass.
Amen.
Yeah.